Okay, so the next, I think, two modules are all about factoring. So factoring essentially is undoing distribution, so undoing multiplication. So there are some times that it is beneficial to have a function that is all put together, which is why we learned how to multiply polynomials together. And then there are other times when it is beneficial to see our polynomials, like we're given here, broken down into separate parts. So we're going to learn how to take a binomial like what we're looking at here and break it down into separate parts. So your main concern with knowing what to factor is how many terms there are. So this entire module that we're working on here all have three terms. So all of the problems have three terms. You see your x squared is your first term. That's what we call a. The -3 next to the x is our b. And then the 2 back here is our c. Okay? So anytime we have three terms like this, we have to find what multiplies to c and adds to b. So that's your rule that we're going to write up here. So we want multiply to c, add to b. Okay, so that's the big thing that we are looking for. So I'm going to take my c value, which in this case on a is 2. It's the number back there all by itself with no variable on it. And I'm going to find the factors of it. So factors just means two numbers, a pair of numbers that would multiply together to give me 2. So let me zoom in here. So two numbers that would multiply to give me 2. So the only way I can get 2 is 1 times 2. But there's actually a second pair. So if you think about how we can get to 2, a positive 2, we can also get a positive answer like that out if we have a negative times a negative. So I could also do -1 times -2, because -1 times -2 is positive 2. So there are my factors. Now I need the pair that matches or that adds together to give me b. So these are the pairs that multiply to c. Now I need the pair that adds to b, which is -3. So the pair that adds to -3 would be -1 and -2. Okay, but we can't just completely ignore this x squared out here. So this x squared is worked into our answer. And let's look how. So we have two sets of parentheses. The x's from the x squared go in the first slots, and the two factors that we just found go in the second slot. So a -1 would be -1, a -2 would be -2. This is my final answer. Okay, so let's look at c since it's on the screen, and then I'll move over to b and d. So I want to multiply to c, so my c value is 12. So I want factors of that add to b. So for 12, I have 1 and 12, which means I also have -1 and -12. I have 2 times 6, so I have -2 times -6. And then I have 3 and 4, so I have -3 and -4. So those are all of my factors of 12. Now I need the pair that adds to b, and my b value here is -7. So my pair that would add to -7 would be this, -3, -4. So I put my two parentheses down. That x squared out front gives me x and x. And then the -3 and -4 makes -3 and -4. And there's my final answer. Okay, let's pull over to b and d. Okay, so on B, my C. So on part B, my C value is 4, right? So I want factors of 4. So I have, for 4, I have 1 and 4, -1 and -4. And then I have 2 times 2, and -2 times -2. So remember, those are all the numbers that multiply to C. Now I need the pair that adds to B. So for B, my B value is +5, so +1 and +4. Oops. +1 and +4 add to 5. So those are the ones that I want. So two sets of parentheses. X's from the x squared go in the first slots. Two factors that I just found are +1, so that's +1, and +4, so that's +4. There's my final answer. Okay. And then last but not least, number D, or letter D, my C value is 12. So I want factors of that. So I have 1 and 12, -1 and -12. Neither of those add to 7. So let's keep going. I have 2 and 6, or -2 and -6. Neither one of those adds to 7. So what's next? 3 and 4, or -3 and -4. And this 3 and 4 right here is the one that adds to 7. So it's going to give me x plus 3 for positive 3, x plus 4 for positive 4. Okay. I do want to show you one more example. So let's go down to 7. Okay, let's go down to 7, and then I'll let you go on the rest of them. So my C value on number 7 is -54. The reason I wanted to show you this problem is because on the problems that we saw up above, those were all positive C values. This one's a negative C value. So remember, in order to get a negative answer, I would have to have one positive, one negative in my factors. So when I'm doing 1 and 54, I have to do the two pairs of -1 and positive 54, or +1 and -54. So neither of those adds to 3. So let's keep going. So we have -2, and what would that be, 27? And then 2 and -27. 3, does 3 go into 24? 3 and 18, yeah. -3 and 18, or 3 and -18. Alright, 4 does not go into 54. 5 does not go into 54. 6 does, so I could do -6 and +9, or +6 and -9. So then I need to look for which of my factors add to +3. That's my B value. So +3 would be -6 plus 9. That would give me +3. So now my ordered pairs would have a B in the front, since it's B squared this time. So you got to match your variable. And then my factors are -6, so -6, and +9, so +9. It's not a very good 9. And there's my final answer. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom out here. Go ahead and pause the video, and then you can play when you are ready for my answers. Okay, so I'm going to run through these kind of quickly. You can certainly ask questions of me in person if you need some extra help on here. So factors of 7. Oops, let me pull out my pen. Factors of 7. What is happening? The add to 8 would be 1 and 7. So I have C plus 1, C plus 7. Number 2. Factors of 64, the add to 16 would be 8 and 8. So we have A plus 8, A plus 8. Number 3, factors of 18, the add to 11 would be 2 and 9. So X plus 2, X plus 9. Let's go down here to number 4. Numbers that add to, or excuse me, factors of 8 that add to 6 would be 2 and 4. So D plus 2, D plus 4. Number 5, factors of 10 that add to 11 would be 1 and 10. So S plus 1, S plus 10. Number 6, factors of 9 that add to 10 would be 1 and 9. So U plus 1, U plus 9. A question that comes up sometimes that just kind of popped into my brain that I do want to address. Some people ask, did the order of the parentheses matter? And it doesn't. You could write this answer and it would be just the same if you said U plus 9, U plus 1. And that goes for any of them. If you flip-flop the order of the parentheses, it's not that big of a deal. Signs definitely matter, but the order in which you write the parentheses doesn't matter. So that was just something that came to mind that I thought I would address really quick. We already did 7. Let's go to 8. So factors of -2 that add to -1. So I could either have -1 and 2 or 1 and -2. So the factors that add to -1 would be 1 and -2. So I have y plus 1 for the positive 1, y minus 2 for the -2. And last but not least, number 9, I have factors of -18 that add to 3. So I have -1. I'm going to do this a little more expanded out just because these are a little newer, right? Neither of those adds to 3, so then I go to 2 and 9. Those don't add to 3, so then I move to 3 and 6. And when you're listing out your factors, it's best to do both pairs so that then you can really see this would be the pair that I would want, right? Because my b value is +3, so that's the pair that's going to add to +3. So then I have u -3 and u plus 6. So if I was going to flip-flop them, remember my signs matter, so I would put u plus 6, u minus 3. So the order in which the parentheses are written does not matter. The order in which you have the plus and minus, or the number in which you have the plus and minus, does matter. Okay?